Hey guys, Nia Shanks here from niashanks.com and beautifulbadass.com, and today I want to do something a little different. I was originally going to make this a blog post, but I decided to try doing this as a video instead. And as you can see, my new puppy here, Sheldon, he apparently wants to be in this video, so he's going to join me for this one. But today what I wanted to talk about is what I would consider to be one of the biggest mistakes I made in regards to nutrition many years ago. It all started out just kind of, some innocent experimenting with trying to tighten up my nutrition or just try new things to see if I could make my body look a little better. And so I started, just counting calories and then following these rules, such as, you have to eat 5 to 6 small meals a day. I tried that, and you're not supposed to you don't want to combine fat and carbs in the same meal, and you should only eat, carbs with protein and fat with protein. You never combine, things of that nature, and other things such as nutrient timing and, stoking the metabolic fire and just all of these really OCD kind of eating habits. I really fell victim to those. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that everybody that chooses to follow those types of rules is plagued by OCD eating habits. It's just for me personally, when I followed those types of strict rules, I spun out of control. And if you've read my website, he's going crazy here. If you've read articles on my website, you know that I had a history with disordered eating, and I just lost absolute complete control, and all of my thoughts, revolved around food all day long. And I got to the point where I just desperately needed something simple. And I made a vow to myself that, I was going to just throw all of those rules out the window. I wasn't going to worry about how many meals a day I was supposed to eat. I wasn't going to stress about certain food combinations. I wasn't going to, worry about not eating past a certain period of time or any of those rules. I said, screw it, threw them all out the window and started from scratch. And what I did was strip everything down to the absolute bare essentials, because I needed to personally just reset my perspective of food and eating for health and eating for enjoyment. And so what I did is I just, took the basics, eat real food. That was what I wanted to focus on more than anything. Nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, meat, eggs, wild-caught fish. Even for me, it included things like sprouted grains and oatmeal and stuff, because I have no issues with those foods, so I'm not going to avoid them completely. But that was my main thing, just eat real food. And then other than that, I was going to eat when I was hungry and, not eat if I wasn't hungry. And then, enjoy some of my favorite treats. Specifically for me, that would be ice cream. Good Lord, I love me some ice cream. Here lately, it's been gelato, but, whatever, same thing. So, I'd enjoy those once or twice a week, and I would just make sure I did so after a workout. That's what I stripped everything down to, and I told myself, I'm going to track this over a few months, and I'm going to see how my body responds. Maybe those are too simple. But what happened was that by keeping things that simple and just listening to my body and feeding it high quality, healthy food and just eating when I was hungry and allowing myself to have some of my favorite foods, occasionally I would even have pizza or, whatever. I didn't restrict myself and put foods completely off limits like I'd done in the past. I mean, there have been times I was like, oh, I'll never eat a cheat meal. I won't eat this. It's unclean, whatever. I just cut all that crap out the window. And by following just those really simple guidelines over the course of a few months, several awesome things happened. My body actually changed for the better. And I don't know if this is just because of, not following the OCD habits, or if it was just not having stress. I started to actually lose fat. I was loving how I looked. My performance in the gym was great. And probably more importantly was that I wasn't obsessing over food anymore, and it wasn't controlling my life, and I wasn't eating by a clock, and I wasn't stressed out. And, personally for me, eating fat and carbs in the same meal, it didn't ruin me. I mean, because like I said, most of the time I was eating healthy food. So the thing I'm trying to get across here is that there isn't one thing that's going to work for everybody. And some people, they love having those guidelines. They love knowing what they should and shouldn't do, and they thrive on having, a plan. And that's awesome. If you're that kind of person, if you love weighing your food and counting calories, and you love having guidelines, if you like knowing what you can and can't do, or should and shouldn't do, I should say, keep doing it. I'm not saying that everybody has to do what I suggest, because there's nothing that works for everybody, just like simple guidelines don't work for everybody. So I'm just trying to explain that do what works for you. Don't be afraid to experiment and take the time and see what works for you. And, you know, for me and for most of my clients, it's really just stripping things down to the absolute bare essentials, keeping everything as simple as possible from the beginning and trying that out. And then if that doesn't work, you know, then tweak from there. But I mean, why make something more complicated than necessary? If you can get by, if you can achieve the results that you want with your health, with your physique, with your performance, if you can achieve those goals with the simplest of guidelines, I mean, why would you make it more complicated than necessary? If you can just focus on eating real food and eating when you're hungry, and if just those basic guidelines will get you the results you want, then why would you need to try to follow something? I have to sneeze, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sheldon. I sneezed on my dog. But anyway, I mean, if you can get the results that you want with the simplest of guidelines, to me it makes absolutely no sense to follow something complicated, something that's going to stress you out. I mean, that's just really what I wanted to talk about. So bottom line, do what works for you, whether that's following a detailed, strict plan, or if that's, you know, jumping out on a ledge there and just trying something super simple and super basic for the first time. Don't be afraid to try that. So hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, shoot me a comment. If not, I'll shut up and I'll just get back to typing. So thanks. Have a good day.